There we go. Hi, everyone.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I've been watching the number of participants climb, and I think it's reached some kind of plateau. So we will make a start, but maybe perhaps some people will join us along the way. Anyway, good evening to you all, and welcome to this webinar. My name's James Smith. I'm the college principal. It's my honour to kick things off this evening, and I will only be speaking very briefly before handing over to our colleagues who will be key to everything that happens in your child's transition to Discovery College over the course of the next few weeks. But my contribution is really to say welcome to you and to really thank you for your choice of Discovery College as the place that your child will learn at next year. It's an incredible honour to be able to educate a child and to really see that journey happen for them from their youngest primary years onwards. And I'm always conscious as we enter this point in the year how exciting it is to think, though I know it will be scary for me to even suggest it, that many of you might sit in an audience in 13 years' time as your child walks across the graduation stage having completed their DC journey. Now that is the honour of being not just at a school but a through school, where we are able to play a part in your child's journey from youngest all the way through to very oldest as they complete their journey. However, the other thing I would say is that whilst our minds as parents do cast forward into the future for our children and the foundation we're laying, the importance of what's going to happen for your child is in the here and now, particularly in this early years experience, where there is such an importance to everything that they will learn and the person that they will become through the process of transitioning into the early years of primary school. And so, as well as looking to the future, please give yourself permission as parents to enjoy everything that happens in this period, to embrace the young person that your child becomes in this period, and really to work closely with all of the people who will form your child's network of support and of nurturing and care as they enter into Discovery College. And then the last thing I would say is really just to recognize that we are still in a period of time, unfortunately, where the kindergarten and pre-primary experience of each child is really characterized by a number of things affected by the pandemic. And I know that for many parents, that might be a question about what that means for your child going into year one next year. And the one thing I would say is that in any year, this year or any other, the job of our early years provision, our early years specialists, is to know your child, to form a relationship with them, to create that bond that is the basis of everything that happens for them in learning. And though people's experiences as 3 and 4 year olds over the last few years have been different, that challenge is not different, and the skills of doing that well are not different. And in the early years practitioners, both on this call and throughout the team here at DC, we have a really strong team who will be investing so much energy and so much time into your child and getting to know them and in helping them to lay that foundation as part of their early years journey. So it's a real pleasure for me to be able to then hand over to our colleagues who will lead the conversation this evening, and that will begin with our Deputy Head of Primary, Chris Stanhope. So Chris, over to you, and welcome to everybody.
Thanks, James. Some of you might know me already as the year 2 team leader, but next year I will be the Deputy Head of Primary. It's wonderful to not see you, but it's wonderful to have you with us tonight. How about our next panelist is Ms. Kiprotich.
Hi, everybody. My name's Nerida Kiprotich. I am the year 1 team leader. I also teach one of the 4 year 1 classes. And next year will be my 7th year at DC. So I'm really looking forward to getting to know all your children, whether they're in my class or not.
Mrs. Dunn.
Hi everybody, my name is Nikki Dunn and I am the Learning Diversity teacher for Year 1 and 2. I've also been a Year 1 teacher, so I know what you're going through with your child starting. I'm really lucky to be able to develop strong relationships with all of the Year 1 students as we nurture them and support their transition. I also support learners in Year 2 as well, so I'm looking forward to meeting you.
And Mr. Boone.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jason Boone. I will have met many of you, I think, at our transition afternoon, not last week, the week before. And my current role is as Vice Principal in the primary section of the school. And as I mentioned at that presentation, I am moving on and I'm moving back to Ireland to be nearer to my family. But I'm here this evening just to support any questions that might come up and likewise to support the new team as they move forward over the next few weeks.
All right, thanks everyone. And I guess we're going to get started. And we're hoping that tonight gives you a chance to feel a little bit more comfortable with everything that's going to be happening in August, give you some more information, but mostly to make you feel better about it. So you know what's coming and possibly even do a little bit of planning over the summer or as we come back in August, just as we come back in August. There's definitely going to be a chance to ask questions this evening. You can type them in the chat and we will do our best to respond. Some of those might get responses via a chat message from me, or we might address them all together. I would ask you though that these questions should be about Year 1 in general. So if you have specific questions about your specific child and their specific needs, please hold on to those. You can send those at a different time, but tonight we're really going to focus on all of Year 1 in general. And my role, I guess, first up is just to give you a brief overview of what to expect in the first 2 weeks of school. So as you can see from this timetable, the first week is a little bit of an odd week. All right, so in the first couple of days, only half of the class will be attending for half a day. And then on the Thursday, the full class will be in, but again, for only half a day. And then finally, on that very first Friday, everyone will be in for a full day. Now, I want you to also take note of that some days there are buses and some days not. Now, I say take note, but all of this information will be on the website. You do not need to be furiously copying or writing anything down. All of this information will be on the website and it will be sent to you again in August. But just to give you a heads up now. The second week looks a little bit more regular. So starting on that very first month, the second Monday, actually, no, it is the first Monday, but it's the second week. All students will be here in school for the full day, and that will continue except for 4 Wednesdays. And these first 4 Wednesdays are really special. And what happens on these days is your child will be booked in for a one-to-one time with their teacher. And this is just an opportunity for your teacher to get to know them a little bit better, talk to them without the distractions of 29 other students. Now, as well, during those times that your child is booked in for, myself and Miss Jordy, our school counselor, would love to talk to you, parents, families. We can do this face-to-face or or on Zoom. It'll depend on what's happening, the situation in Hong Kong, and you'll get more information about that as well as we move further along. You'll note that a little note at the bottom saying that your children will be allocated these sessions before the end of this year. So you'll know before the end of June when their one-on-one session is. Okay. Oops. Now I'm going to hand over to Ms. Dunn, who's going to talk a little bit about life in Year 1 at Discovery College. Thanks, Ms. Dunn. You're on mute, Ms. Dunn.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you. So we're really mindful of the fact that many of you haven't actually been on the school site, so you don't know what learning actually looks like. So I want to share that with you today. You'll see the photos here are actually our shared classroom, and all of the 4 classrooms feed off into the shared classroom. So learning for us in Year 1 is about a social time. Student-led, developmentally appropriate opportunities for play, making connections, and learning the curriculum. And language is really at the heart of this. While your child might be with one particular teacher, it doesn't mean they don't have an opportunity to spend time with all of the Year 1s. This is where we're lucky with our shared classroom, because children are able to mix and mingle and share experiences with each other. It's also a great opportunity for learners to get to know each other We've got students coming from 25 different early childhood centres, so they're going to meet a whole lot of new people. The adults also interact with the kids. So while your child will have a teacher and an EA in their classroom, they also have a team of teachers. So all of the year one teachers and EAs get to know all of the children. And over a week, your child will also get to know and see their specialist teachers, their Chinese teachers, the librarians, either in classroom time or unstructured play or in specialist time. So it really is an exploratory time at school. Thanks, Chris. So I know some people are worried to start with, thinking, you know, we have to get our children ready for school. We've got to get them ready for reading and writing. Please don't think that way, because really it is about developmentally appropriate opportunities for your child to learn skills that are appropriate to 4 and 5-year-olds. And our goal is to grow your child in a nourishing and flourishing learning community. You'll hear your child start saying things like, I can do that myself. That's appropriate for a 5-year-old, 4 to 5-year-old, and they want to be able to learn those skills. You'll hear us talk about approaches to learning that are listed here, and we'll talk through those in a moment. You'll also hear your child talking about strengths, and we talk about teamwork, the love of learning, bravery, perseverance. All those words will be familiar for your child from the first day of school. We know that going slow is an opportunity to go deeply with your child. So these dispositions help us to then reach the tricky stuff. So if we have all these skills and dispositions ready for learning, it makes the reading and the writing and the academic learning not so overwhelming. Okay, go to the next slide. So one of those skills that I'd like to talk about is communication skills. And as a parent of a not so small 5-year-old now, an adult, you know that your child speaks and talks and makes connections and queries and questions. And we know that speak and talk is really important, and it's the foundation for the future communications skills of reading and writing. So really important to develop those social skills, and so communication skills. And at school, these are the things that we will be focusing on developmentally appropriate. Again, I'm using those words, what's appropriate for a 4 to 5-year-old, and how they express themselves, how they follow instructions, how they express their needs, how they ask questions. So for you at home, it's having opportunities to enjoy storybooks, shared reading. It's not about children reading themselves, but you sharing their reading, wondering, noticing, drawing ideas, asking questions, and helping your child to be able to express their needs. Can they tell you if they need help or if they don't feel well? We know sometimes students have toilet accidents. That's perfectly natural and normal for a 4 to 5-year-old, and we help them with that, but it's about seeking help. And also helping your child to be able to follow instructions and be able to cue from a group, see what everyone else is doing, following instructions. Can you get this and then put it over here? So idea of a 2-part instruction. One thing that we really want to express too is many of you are English language learners, and while we have our main language of instruction is English, we do encourage you to continue to speak and communicate in your mother tongue. Make those connections between school things in your home language. It's really, really important that your home language is maintained. I think I'm going to hand over to Nerida.
Thanks, Nikki. A huge focus in year 1 for us is developing social skills. And this would have been a focus at kindergarten as well, but we're very aware that over the past few years with COVID restrictions, lots of interacting with peers outside of school and also inside of school has been quite limited. So it really is a key focus of us to take turns and to share, using our words to manage conflicts so that the adults aren't jumping in to save children in situations. We want them really to build their strategies of how to solve problems if they need something from a peer, if they would like to play a game, or if they need a piece of equipment or borrow the stapler from somebody, that they have the words to be able to ask to share, ask to take turns. Can I have it when you're done? And these are kind of things that you can also build on over summer at home by playing games, play dates, even if it's just going to the playground and having to take turns on the slide, or asking to join in with kicking a ball around, having time with peers, if possible, if not in family situations, board games, card games where you have to take turns and you don't win all the time. Those social situations are really important outside of school as well as all the way through year one.
So I'm now back talking about thinking skills. So thinking skills really is a sort of an extension of communication. And you will hear us at school more, the role of the adult is more to use questions to ask to help children develop. So rather than saying, put that over there, put your bag away, where do you think your bag should go? So we're asking all those WH questions, we call them who, what, where, when, why, and involving kids in conversations. So solving problems together. Oh, we've got a problem here. Our bags are all messy. What are we going to do? So rather than giving children solutions, and that's what you can be doing at home as well. Right, now it's time for school. What are the things that you will need to take to school, to kindergarten? So rather than packing bags and things for your child, but actually involving them as part of that conversation. And also we know with 5-year-olds, sometimes they do need wait time. Actually, sometimes 50-year-olds need wait time too. So 5-year-olds need wait time. So we don't jump in and answer for them, but giving them that little bit of time to think about an answer or solving a problem. Okay, so the last page here is my page as well. And I wonder if anyone has any questions related to life in year one. So if you do, you can type in on the chat now and we'll attempt to answer questions.
Nothing's coming through now. So how about we carry on with the next part, and we'll, if you do have questions, parents, please type them in. We'll get to them. No problem at all.
Thanks, Chris. Our next section is just some top tips for you as parents, really to think about how you can support your child start at DC. And all these tips are just small things to help your child with a smoother transition into DC and really less worry for the adults at home, because if your child can manage all the small things at school, that means they don't have to worry about the little things. They know they can do them. You know that your child can do them. So just a few practical ideas to help you and your child. It is still quite many weeks until August and they start, so plenty of time to get some of these things happening at home if they're not happening already. One huge focus in year one, because there are 30 children in a class, and the children, the more independent they can be, the more successful they are at the start of the year, because they can concentrate on the bigger parts of getting to know school rather than worrying about which one is their school bag and where did they put it last. So one thing we really focus on that we want the children to be coming to school already doing is eating independently. The best way, there's a photo there of a snack and a lunch container for your child to know what is their snack going to be, what is their lunch going to be, so they don't eat all their lunch at 10 o'clock in the morning and then are starving at lunchtime. There is a set of stairs, at least one set of stairs, often two, for children to walk from our classrooms up to the cafeteria. And to do that, they need to hold their handrail with their left hand, carry their lunchbox and their water bottle. So having a lunch bag, if you're buying a new one over summer, having one with a handle that they can loop over their wrist, so then they can hold their water bottle. All those little things will just make it much easier for your child, rather than having a lunch box that they have a bag to put it all inside of. And just really knowing your child's appetite and what they like to eat, so that they're not coming home with a lunchbox full of food, or they're eating everything at snack time because they're so hungry. Just knowing your child and setting, they have 20 minutes for snack and 20 minutes for lunch. So knowing how much your child can eat in that time and not packing 3 courses and they only just get started and then worry that they haven't eaten all their lunch. So those things, if you're worried about how much your child's going to eat at school, then just do a test at home, lunch on a weekend, have 20 minutes and see what they get through. That will help your child with the eating side of school. Another important part of self-management skills is toileting. At school, due to safeguarding issues and children from all year levels accessing toilets, there are no teachers able to go into toilets if children need help. We do have a nurse to support if accidents do happen, but teachers can't go into the bathroom. So knowing that your child can use the toilet independently, getting their clothes up and down, washing their hands, are really important key aspects of Year 1. So knowing that your child can do that, and your child knowing that they can do that, will really help lessen any anxiety at the start of the year. Shoes and socks do come off and on during the day. We have a sand pit. Shoes get full of sand, so they do have to empty them and put them back on, which is why we recommend Velcro, not shoelaces, simply because it's much easier for your child to work that out independently. Some parents in the past have had PE and sports shoes for PE days, and I guess traditional school shoes that are leather for other days. It's not necessary. A set of sports shoes for every day, because your child will be running around the playground, climbing, sliding, kicking balls. A set of sports shoes every day is far better for your child than having a heavier set of shoes. Just one tip with uniform: if you're onto the uniform shop and ordering uniforms, there are several options. For girls, there are shorts, which are unisex, can be worn by anybody anytime. But if you are looking at the skirt version for girls, there is a PE skirt. There's a little image there and the description of it. It is very stretchy, pull on, pull off. There's also a grey skirt, but it has a zipper and a little clasp on the side, which is a little trickier for Year 1s, especially at the start of the year. So just if you haven't ordered any uniforms yet, the black PE skirt is definitely easier for Year 1s to manage on their own. Another key part of Year 1 is organisational skills. Children will all have a locker where they'll keep their school bag. Kindergarten school bags normally are far smaller than what your child will need in Year 1. They will eventually bring home an A4 size folder, you can see in the photo next to the pink backpack, that will carry reading books and notes and any of their work home. That needs to fit in, as well as their lunchbox, their water bottle, their hat, possibly a jumper. So the bag does need to be of a decent size, because they have to do the packing and the unpacking. So doing that at home from the beginning means they won't come to school and say, my auntie forgot my water bottle today, that they are packing their bag. They know the part of their bag it goes into, so they can check every morning before they leave home that they've got everything. The other key part of organisation is labelling. You can see my daughter's name on a hat there, written really big, because every child in primary has the same hat. Same with the red raincoats that many of the children have. With 720 hats and raincoats, if you don't write on it big, it might take a long time to come back if it does. If the name's written big, it will eventually come back to classrooms. But if it's not with a big clear label, it will be very hard to get those ones back. So just some organisational things for your child to practice now. If you're travelling over summer, a great time to pack bags and to know what's inside them. And just thinking for the start of the year, big backpack, clearly labelled lunchbox, water bottle, hat, raincoat for rainy days.
Okay, we do have a couple of questions that have come in, everyone, and I might start it off, and everyone else in the panel, please jump in. There's a question about class allocations based on what parents may have seen when they came to visit for the day. Basically, the teachers and I and the kindergarten teachers all talked together about what would be the best placement for children in Year 1. We do not base and put all of the certain kindergartens together in one class. It's a much bigger conversation than that. But I think the reason you might have noticed that in that day was we did keep them together, some of them together on that day when they came for their transition, but that does not happen next year. Ms. Kiprotich, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I'll just add to that. We have many kindergartens this year that are only having 1 or 2 children come from them. And we have other kindergartens where there's a big group of children coming. So even if your child is separated from friends from kindergarten, or you have friends around the community that you know are coming to DC, please be reassured that your child will see them in the playground. In our shared area time that Nikki talked about earlier, we have classes mixing in that area all the time. So there are plenty of opportunities for them to see friends that they already know. But year one, I think the best part of year one is how many new friends your child will make over the year. So really, we look at growing their friendships rather than limiting them to the ones that they already have.
There's another question about, thank you, Ms. Kiprotich. There's another question about class size. All the classes in Discovery College are classes of 30, and each year group has 4 of those classes. So there'll be 4 classes of 30 students in year one next year. Sometimes it varies if students are moving out and new students are coming in, but in general, it's 30 students per class. I'll be honest, there's a number of questions about uniforms. I'll say we can try and answer these, everyone. I don't know if we will have all of the answers, but if not, I'm sure we can send out some contact details. I guess it's the PTA at dc.edu.hk. Is that correct? The PTA email address where you can get those answers?
I think the easiest thing with uniforms moving forward, I can see that there's various questions here. Our uniforms are actually provided by an external provider now, and you will have, if you've seen the link to that, you will see their contact details. But what we will do is we will put an update. I'll take note of all the questions that we can see around uniform, and we'll send out in our next email an update on uniform.
Yeah, I can answer just a little bit there about trainers. We ask for mostly black or mostly white shoes. Socks, it doesn't matter. And same with the backpack, as long as it's big enough to fit everything for your child and that they can open and close it independently. It doesn't need to be a specific color or brand.
There's another question about, I think there's a couple questions about ordering lunches. Yes, your children will get support if they've ordered lunches. There will be people, there are always teachers on duty as well as cafeteria staff on duty to support your children. Although we, as was said a couple of times this evening already, we encourage independence as much as possible, but that's just a habit that they will get into and how they collect their food, where they sit down and whatnot. If there's a question about if they order lunch from school, do they need to bring a lunch box bag? Ms. Kiprotich, do you want to handle that one?
Sure. Lunch, if you're ordering cafeteria lunch, they will still need to bring a separate snack, and children bring their own cutlery for lunchtime. So just a little container that has a fork and a spoon in it. At the moment, our year one classes, we have 2 levels in our cafeteria, and 2 classes are in one area and 2 are in the other. And we sit in those same designated class spots. The children aren't allocated a seat, but in the same area. And the children who have ordered a cafeteria lunch, their tray is on the table already for them. So they don't need to go and collect it from anywhere. It has their name on the top of the lid of their cafeteria lunch. And that is put in the same spot every day. So there's always a section for children who order their cafeteria lunches, and they sit in those same areas each day. So there's no need to worry that they have to pick up a tray and select their food and carry it away. That is all done for them.
There's a quick question about the language survey, and thank you some parents for already accessing this. There might be an error there. It's asking for the classrooms, and the classes haven't been allocated by the time the language survey, we asking that it's been completed. So I'll be honest, and I haven't seen this part yet, but you can either type in NA, not applicable, or if you have to make a choice, just choose one. It's okay. We'll deal with it when we get through all the results. So don't worry about that.
And we can update the form if there is an error in there. We'll go back and have a check so that hopefully by tomorrow you won't need to answer that question.
Okay, can I just answer a couple here about recess and snacks? There is no buying snacks at school for year one. They need to bring their own snack from home every day. There is our timetable. There's a question on here about how the day looks in the timetable, as well as one about snack time. In a normal 5-day timetable week that we will hopefully have in August, the children have 2 blocks of time, which are about 55 minutes before a snack and a playtime. And that normally happens around 10:15 to 10:30. And then we're back into classrooms, or they go to specialist classes. And then lunchtime, there's time to eat that's separate from playtime, so that we make sure that children aren't eating 2 bites of food and then running off to play. There's time to actually sit down in the cafeteria and eat. Then they pack all their things away in their bags, and then they go and play. Through a week, your child will have 2 PE classes across the week, 1 art, 1 music, 1 drama, and 3 Chinese lessons as well. The rest of the time they will be with their main classroom teacher and EA, and we use some of that time We have some extra gross motor time in the playground. We use our shared area time to develop more social skills and organizational skills. You will receive a timetable once classes have been allocated and timetables finalized.
Thank you, Ms. Kiprich. There's another question about when will we find out which class our child is in. That will be sent to you on June 17th. You'll find that out. Let me just quick check, everyone. If you see something that we may have missed, just jump in.
Just another one about uniforms. Uniforms can be bought at different times through the year, so you don't need to think about jackets or jumpers or anything at this point in the school year. Really, it's just PE. Their house color is their PE shirt, and that's worn on the 2 days that they will have PE, which you will get in the timetable before they start the school year in August.
There's a couple of questions. There's a question about the e-wallet for the stationery pack and checking sizes for uniforms. I don't know the answers to those. Maybe what we'll do is I'll note your name and I will do my best to find out the details for those answers and get back to you tomorrow. Okay.
With the 2 PE classes, a question about 2 PE classes per week. Do they need 2 PE sets? It's not often, but it occasionally happens that PE is, say, Monday and Tuesday each week. I find for my own 2 children who are in primary, it's handy to have 2 PE shirts, just because you never know when you might not have the next one ready, washed and ready to go. So it definitely is needed for the PE days because they are busy and they're active. So making sure that is worn on PE days is really important.
Lunch is served in the cafeteria now. This has been happening since the beginning of COVID, and we've had to change our eating arrangements around quite drastically. So for the foreseeable future, and I don't know the answer to when, year ones will be eating in the cafeteria. So that is a walk up the stairs for those year 1 students.
PE, girls do not have to wear a skirt for PE. Many of the girls in my class this year wear the PE shorts. My own daughter wears the PE shorts because she finds them much more appropriate for running around in PE. So yeah, totally your child's preference with the shorts. There's another question here about progress updates. We will have parent-teacher conferences. We have conferences each term. The first one in around October is just parent and teacher. If your child is facing challenges or separation challenges at school, we will absolutely contact parents early on to let you know how your child is going. And we will give phone calls and emails in the first week of school, first week, second week, just to keep you updated on how your child's going and if you have any questions and what you're seeing from home as well. So also from parent side, if your child, is getting up every morning or not sleeping at night because they're anxious about something at school, if you let your child's teacher know, you will have their email contact, send them an email, and the more we know about what's happening between home and school, the more we can help your child.
Can I also add to that, we have an online platform called Seesaw, which some of you may be familiar with in early childhood. And it's an opportunity for teachers to post photos and talk about learning, etc. So when your child starts next year, look out for a QR code to Seesaw. And it's a great way of teachers sending great visual updates of what's happening for your child.
There's a question about ordering stationery. Mr. Boone, did you want to handle that one? Because I don't know all the details about that.
Yeah, you will note that it says in the stationery information that payment is made using something called our e-wallet facility. So when you are fully set up with all your accounts, including a gateway account, we operate as a cashless system. So if it's a school trip or a school activity that there's an additional payment for, or an extracurricular club that your child's joining, all payments go through something called an e-wallet. So at this moment in time, they won't be set up for you, but as they're set up over the summer, you will then get a notification asking you to upload money onto your e-wallet account. And some of that will cover the stationery fees. So you will get a notification and an app message to say that that's been set up over the summer, and then that's how you go about making that payment. And any payments for additional things such as trips.
I think that answers a couple of questions that have been in there. Just one last question that we received, then we'll move on, I think. Yes, the year one uniform is the same as all primary students. So all primary students have the same uniform. Secondary uniform is a little bit different.
Yeah, and can I just add to the stationery, all stationery will be in your child's classroom. They don't need to bring a pencil case or a pencil or anything. It will all be in the classroom ready for them from August.
All right, please, if you think of other things, no problem at all, put them in, but we're just gonna move on. We're just about near the end, I think. Yes, and based on the questions, I think a lot of parents have already accessed the website. So thank you very much for being proactive parents. Really appreciate it. For those who haven't, you would have received an email the other day, maybe late last week, I think it was, saying there is a year one transition website. And there's two parts to that website. There's information for parents and information for students. Now, these will be updated on an ongoing basis, in particular, the one for students. You'll see some things going up this year, but also some more probably in August as well. For you now, though, I think the most important thing is on the information for parents section. And some people have already mentioned it in the questions. We would really appreciate it if you could complete the language profile form and the You Tell Us form. So these are pretty quick surveys just to help us get some more information about your child. I'll be really honest, the more we know, the better we are able to help your child, the more we are able to meet their needs and yours. So please take the time to fill those two forms in and explore the other links, of course. And we would really appreciate it if you could have those in by the 14th of June. Ms. Kiprotich.
All right, the next step really for you as parents and your child is just to relax, and really you know your child best. So follow their lead at this period of transition for them. The information that you're receiving about starting DC, some of your children might be asking lots of questions, particularly if they came to the transition afternoon. Other children probably don't care less until closer to the end of summer, and they're just enjoying their last few weeks of kindergarten, or they're excited for summer holidays. So really listen to your child and observe and really acknowledge their worries and their questions if they have them, or their curiosities, and really just enjoy the last few weeks of kindergarten. It really is, you know, the next phase that's coming in August for you as a family, and enjoy the summer break. You will get lots of information from DC at different times, but it's all on that website to keep referring back to. So if you think you're getting a lot of information, just pause and take it bit by bit. That's on the website. It will be there now, and it will be there over July. So there's no need to worry about getting everything done, other than those little forms that will really help us set up the start of the school year successfully for all your children.
All right, I guess the last thing is just to say thank you. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening. I know this time of year, in particular this year, is very chaotic for a lot of families. So we really appreciate the time. If you didn't get your question answered, or if you feel like you need some more information, as Ms. Kiprotich just said, there will be lots of things coming to you at the end of this year and into next year, but you can always email and ask. Also, this presentation will be on the website, hopefully sometime tomorrow, but maybe the next day. So if you feel you missed something that way. Otherwise, thank you everyone, and have a very good evening. And we look forward to meeting your children and seeing them and being with them next year. And have a great summer.
Thank you, everyone.
Mr. Boone, can you end that?